in prayer is a necessary part of the Christian walk. It is certainly important to the Christian walk and should never be minimalized, as it is paramount, one of the paramount items in terms of living this Christian life. God Almighty, El Shaddai, really. Shad, which is, because Shaddai is really a combination of words. Shad is the Hebrew word for breast, which would refer to God as the breasted one, or, the breasted one. Why that statement with God? Because it deals with nourishment. God is a nurturer, nourisher. So certainly he is that to us. He is God Almighty. He is our nourishment. Communication is necessary on a regular basis, praying to God. It is quite important, so I encourage you, pray. Now, if your lifestyle is only prayer, you may have a problem. Quite interesting that prayer is easier to do than changing your actions, changing your behavior. It is easier to pray than it is to behave. That is a honest truth. That is honest fact. We cannot deny that. That is really and truly what it is. It is easier to pray than it is to behave. And so what tends to happen is we tend to try and pray out bad actions and attitudes. You know that this is a free will culture in Christianity, that God has always been about free will, which means there's a choice. Some of us are making bad choices every time we get a chance. And so what ends up happening is we try to pray away bad stuff that we don't change. And so I've been praying on this for years. So when you going to change up? I found myself reflecting on Acts chapter 2 and verse 38, which is near my sermon this coming Sunday. But found myself reflecting on it and reflecting on just the wonderfulness of the linguistic statement, men and brethren, what must we do? There's a statement in Acts 2:38. King James actually messed this up, and I'm not saying that the version is wrong in its translation. It's not in Acts 2:38. It's not wrong in its translation. It's just interesting because what it ends up doing is it positions the question without the emotive being tied to it. What do you mean? Men and brethren, what shall we do? They were cut to the quick, and they said, men and brethren, what shall we do? What must we do? There's a part of me that believes that a better, more modern English translation, this is not from any version, but looking at the Greek, the statement, what must we do, kind of leads to the thought that what they were actually saying, you gonna move, bruh? Yeah, coasting and whatnot, anyway. But it goes and points to the notion of, what do we do? That was where they were. So what do we do? What do we do? With an urgency. I want you to notice something. And I'm not saying this to speak against the sinner's prayer, even though there is no such thing as the sinner's prayer. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that, well, I'm not saying that at all today. It is true. Ain't no such thing as a sinner's prayer. What I am saying is they didn't say, They didn't fall into prayer. Peter gets up there and says, you, by the hands of godless men, you Jews, by the hands of godless men, y'all done killed Jesus. You have killed the Messiah. And when they were convicted, cut to the quick, cut to the heart, when they were pricked in their heart, they don't fall in prayer. Well, why would they fall in prayer? These are Jewish men, for the most part, primarily men, that showed up for the Feast of Sabaoth, or the Pentecost, as we have typically called it in time past. And if they were there for religious celebration because they had relationship with God, they could have, Lord, forgive us. They could have fallen in prayer. They didn't fall in prayer at all. Like, they didn't fall in prayer. They didn't fall in prayer. They said, what do we do to right? And I believe firmly, what do we do now? Because we're condemned. We have condemned the Messiah. The Messiah has risen, but he wants all of us. What do we do? And sometimes I believe that the issue amongst Christians, even of today, is that we sit in a perplexed mindset, believing we can pray everything away and then turn around and don't ask the simple question in prayer, God, what do I do? Because I got to change something. My behavior has to change. My life has to change if I want to be better. But if I'm just trying to pray it out, do I really believe in God? Do I have faith that he empowers me to change my behavior, to improve my behavior? Do I believe he has the power to encourage me in spite of what others might say when I change my behavior? Or am I fearful of such a behavior change, knowing it will incur greater responsibility on me? Do we really believe in God? Or are we going through the motions of a ritual every Sunday, every Wednesday or Tuesday or Monday or Thursday? Are we just going through the motions, claiming Christianity? Or are we trying to live this thing out? My wife the other day, apparently it was raining, I remember. Now I'm in her car, well, our car, but in the car, and drove it, and I went to hit the washer fluid. She said it was horrible driving, it rained. She said the window just got messed up, so I tried to clean it. Okay, cool, and then now there's no washer fluid. Now she knows there's no washer fluid in the car. She knows there's no washer fluid in the car. I get in the car. I know once I try and wash the window because, pollen and so forth, summertime kind of, sort of. And I'm like, man, I said, man, I hope she puts washer fluid in there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to pray to God that she recognizes she needs to put washer fluid in here. She needs to put washer fluid in the car. Washer fluid needs to get in the car. Lord, touch her spirit that she would recognize washer fluid. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out of this car. I'm going to go down to my van. And I have to say my van because she don't like it. But I'm going to go to my van and I'm going to get the washer fluid out and I'm going to put it in there. Because praying it away ain't working. I got to do something. God bless you.